tier multi-segmental flexion, and we're going to combine flexion, extension, and rotation to this video. All right. And so we're looking for a few different things. Again, our feet are going to be forward or together. Excuse me. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep it standardized as much as possible. So we're going to try to keep their cervical spine standardized throughout every time you do this, right? So for multi-segmental flexion, we're going to have them actually look at their toes when they bend forward. And we're going to have them basically tell them to go ahead and touch their toes and then come back up, all right? So what I'm going to have you do is, okay, I'm going to have you keep your feet together. I'm going to have you look at your toes, keep your knees straight, and I want you to go down as far as you can, touch your toes, and come back up. And then come on back up. So that's going to keep that head in a standardized position so you're not extending when you go down or you're not flexing. So if she cannot touch her toes, that's one criteria, it would be dysfunctional. All right? The other criteria we're using for this is a posterior shift. Whenever you bend forward, you got a posterior shift. So it looks like she goes back on her heels to clear some room. All right? So she passes that one. Okay, the other criteria we're looking at is, can I pull your shirt up? Is a nice uniform spinal curvature of the spine. So we're looking to see how well it curves. And it looks like it's curving over here. It kind of flattens out here, right? Not too bad here, but it looks like right here it's kind of a flat area. All right? So the spine's not flexing like it should, so it should be dysfunctional. She doesn't have a nice flexed curvature. And then the other thing is we're looking at that sacral angle. Okay, so that sacral angle, if I put my hand around the sacrum, if this is 0 and this is 90, it should be about 70 degrees, right? So right about like this. So you can tell that's angling up probably about 50 or 60. If you're unsure, get an ankleometer. But again, this is like something like this, right? So that doesn't hit that 70-degree mark, all right? And so we're looking at a posterior weight shift. We're looking at touching the toes, right? We're looking at a uniform spinal curvature and that sacral angle being at 70 degrees. So she did not pass 3 out of 4. So that'd be dysfunctional, okay? So we're going to break her out on that later, okay? So we keep going with extension then? All right, so with extension, we're looking at a couple of different things. So in order to do extension, the way SFMA does it, is you need to have about 170 degrees of shoulder flexion, right, to be able to do that. And when you go forward, you're going to need spinal extension and hip extension. Okay? So what we're looking at when we're doing the extension portion is going to be, do they have 170 degrees of shoulder flexion? Okay? The feet are together. When they go backwards, do the spine of their scapula actually past their heels, and do their ASIS go in front of their toes. And then we look for that nice, again, uniform spine curvature. Okay, so we're looking at 4 criteria with extension. If they cross way over the toes with their ASIS and their spine and scapula do not get beyond the heel, then we're thinking, okay, they're using a lot of hip extension, not so much spine extension. If their spine and scapula is way behind their heel, their ASIS do not come up above the toes, then you're thinking, oh, they're really dumping on that spine, and they're not using their hip extension very well, all right? So some things we can think about. But again, with top tier, we're just checking off the box. Dysfunctional, functional, or painful, not painful. So if you could, I'm going to have you keep your feet together for me, right? Arms here. You're going to be looking, your eyes are going to follow your hands, right? And you're going to go up over your head as far as you can, go all the way back, keep your knees straight, okay, as far as you can go, and then come on back. So we're looking at ASIS. Looks like it clears her toes, spine and scapula. No way that clears her heel, right? So I draw a straight line, hits her right about here. Come on back with it. So the spine and scapula does not clear that heel. All right? I just gave her a little break. I'm going to have her do it again. Can I lift this up? So ASIS clears, spine and scapula does not clear. Okay? And then we have the uniform, right, spinal curve and shoulder flexion 170. So let's do it again for me. Arms all the way over your head, bend backwards for me. So it looks like your shoulders get about 170. That looks good, right? And then we look at a uniform curve, and it looks like right here, you can see that, like she's dumping right at this level. You can see how it kind of comes in, just kind of dips in really hard right here. Come on back, all right? So I'd say that's a non-uniform curve, because she's kind of dumping right here, which is pretty common. You'll see people do that. Okay? So out of the 4 criteria, she's good on the ASIS over the toes, and she's good at the shoulder 170 degrees. Okay? But where she is dysfunctional, according to SFMA, is spine and scapula is not getting back, right? And it's non-uniform curve. So it'll be interesting to see how she does with breakout, with the spine breakout, right? So that's extension. Rotation, I'm going to face this way. Again, with rotation, you're going to need trunk rotation, right? Thoracic and lumbar. And remember with rotation, or extension and rotation are coupled motions, all right? So it's going to include thoracic and lumbar. So the feet together, when we rotate, we're actually rotating the spine, but we're also rotating internally and externally rotating your hips and your tibia. Okay, so when we break it out, we're going to look at all three of those. But for this test, say for the top tier, the feet are going to be together, arms by your side. You're going to have your client just rotate as far as they can, right? You're trying to get that 100 degrees. 50 degrees should come from your pelvis, 50 degrees should come from your trunk and shoulders, right? It should equal 100. So if she actually rotates 100 degrees, you should see her opposite shoulder if you're standing behind her, right? Even if you see her opposite shoulder, you still want to make sure that you're getting 50 degrees here. But sometimes people get about 30, and then they get 70 here, right? And that would still be dysfunctional, because you want 50, at least 50, at least 50, all right? Because if you don't have it here, they're just whipping through their spine and really over-rotating their spine. That can cause them pain and dysfunction. Okay, so okay, I'm going to have you put your arms by your side, feet together. Now I want you to just go ahead and turn as far as you can. Look over your right shoulder and really turn your body, see how far you can get. Okay, so her pelvis here, looks like, you know, this is 0, this is 90. That looks pretty good. I'd say she probably gets about 50 there. Okay, can't quite see that off the shoulder. You can kind of see she's kind of extending a little bit too. So she's trying to go here and trying to go back here to get that rotation. So a lot of times they'll extend the back, or they'll let their feet rotate out. Okay, so you're looking for that opposite shoulder. You're looking for 50 degrees here, and you're looking for that 50 degrees here. Okay, if you don't see that, that's to be dysfunctional. Can you try the other side for me? And again, pelvis, that looks pretty good. I'd probably say she probably gets it there. It's pretty close, but again, she's not rotating as far on this side as the other side. You can tell her shoulders further back here. Okay, so she has more of a restriction going left and right. Either way, you check dysfunctional, any pain? Check dysfunctional, not painful, and we're going to break that out there.